Hello everyone, my name is Adam Reaver. Today I'm going to explain how to tank in Final Fantasy XIV. Tanking in Final Fantasy XIV is regarded as a hard job or too much responsibility that scares away players. I'm here to say tanking is not hard at all. It does come with responsibilities, but they are quite easy to manage. Tanking is not much different than the actual melee job, except for enmity control, and a few special mechanics during boss fights. The amount of enmity each player has will determine if they will be attacked or not by enemies. If you have the most enmity among all the players in the party, you will be attacked. Enmity is increased in 3 ways: attacking and dealing damage, healing players, and using actions that will increase enmity. Enmity control is a very important part in tanking. If you do tank, and you do not have the most enmity for all enemies currently engaged with your party, most of the time they will be attacked and they will die. Especially if it's the healer, which ends up with everybody dying, including you. This is what scares a lot of players from tanking, plus the barrage of insults they may get for being a bad or new tank. Every tank has several actions to increase their enmity. Some of these actions do more damage if performed correctly, and some will do 0 damage. Let's start with the first used action that most tanks use when they start pulling a mob of enemies. These are ranged enmity actions. These actions do damage while having an effect that increases the amount of enmity you generate for that attack. Gladiators and Paladins have Shield Lob at level 15, Marauders and Warriors have Tomahawk at level 15, Dark Knights have Unmanned at level 15, but they also have Abyssal Drain at level 56, which does AoE damage around the target. Once you attack an enemy with one of these actions, all enemy members of that group will start attacking you. Then they'll start to gather around you. You need to gather enmity very quickly for all these enemies. This is where AoE enmity actions come into place. Every tank has these actions. Gladiators have Flash, level 6. Flash will increase the enmity for all nearby enemies in a circular AoE. It deals 0 damage. They also have Circle of Scorn. It works similar to Flash, but it deals damage. Marauders have Overpower at level 10. This ability requires you to face the targets. You also make sure that enemies are in front of you, not just from Marauder's Overpower skill, but for all tanks so you can parry attacks, which increases the damage you take. Dark Knight has 2 moves: Unleash at level 6, which is basically Flash, but it deals damage. Then they have Abyssal Drain, which is ranged and is stronger with a more MP cost. To make sure you have a good amount of enmity for the duration of the fight, you want to use these AoE actions at least 3 times when you face multiple enemies, but making sure you use them again normally after every 2 or 3 weapon skills, such as combo attacks. Each tank has other ways to deal AoE damage. It might not have the increased enmity effect, but it can still help keep aggro while allowing you to deal more damage to the group of enemies. Some of these attacks are Total Eclipse for Paladin, Steel Cyclone for Warrior, and Dark Passion for Dark Knight. Each tank has at least 2 different combo paths. By performing combos you deal more damage, but in one of these combo paths there are 2 weapon skills that give increased enmity. These enmity attacks can be used to help build a lead on single targets. You need to also use defensive cooldowns as well when tanking. Some of these cooldowns increase damage, others increase parry rate, and some increase the amount of healing you receive. You want to spread these cooldowns apart. Using too many will reduce the effectiveness of these cooldowns. Cooldowns that reduce damage do not stack together, and instead they apply one after another. Rampart reduces the damage you take by 20%. Sentinel is 40% damage reduction. These 2 actions together do not equal 60% damage reduction. If you receive 100 damage and have both Rampart and Sentinel up, you'll only reduce the damage by 52%, resulting in 48 damage taken. Tanks will also get at least 1 tank stats. Paladins will attain Shield Oath and Sword Oath. Warriors will attain Defiance and Deliverance. Dark Knights will attain Grit. Shield Oath and Grit increase the enmity while also reducing the damage you deal and take. Defiance increases enmity while reducing their damage, and increases their health and health recovery via healing magic. Make sure to always have a tank stance on, preferably the tank stance that reduces damage if your party is new or not experienced. Only experienced players are able to handle offensive tank stances. The majority of the time anyways. If you ever lose aggro for an enemy or enemies, never panic. There are 2 skills to tank that can be used instantly to put you on top of the aggro: Provoke and Ultimatum, or roll actions for tanks. Provoke will put you on top of the enmity list by 1 point over the 1 target, and it is ranged. Ultimatum is the same thing, but for more enemies and its circular AoE, similar Flash. If you're new to tanking, having these two on will help you greatly. Let's use an example if you lose enmity. If you just lost enmity to either a healer because they heal too much damage, or DPS dealt too much single target damage, target the enemy and use provoke, and then quickly follow up with a ranged enmity action, like Tomahawk. You will now want to reposition and use a few more AoE enmity actions and focus on that target afterwards. If you lost several enemies to one player, run to that player and hopefully they don't run from you, and use ultimatum if the enemies are close by. If you never get close to your enemies, just use provoke and a ranged enmity action as before, and try your best to hit the enemies with AoE enmity attacks. As a paladin, you can use cover. This solves a lot of problems for paladins. If you are ranged to a player being attacked 10 yalms, for 12 seconds you take all their damage instead. Hopefully again, they do not run from you. There are also indicators for enmity for each enemy you engage in battle with. You can also check each player's enmity rank for one enemy at a time by looking at the party list. Whoever has A will have the most enmity, while 2 will have the second most enmity, and so on. Later on, certain bosses and enemies will perform certain mechanics that you need to watch out for. Some bosses need to be turned around from the party facing the rear of the enemy, normally. Bosses sometimes perform cleave attacks, which target the player with the most enmity and hit any other player in a certain proximity, if they are in front of the boss. Let's go over these steps very quickly in an encounter. Step 1. Make sure you have the tank stance enabled and use a ranged enmity action. Step 2. Gather all enemies around you, preferably in front of you, so you may parry and for any cleave attacks. Step 3. Use enmity AoE actions at least 3 times to establish a lead enmity if there are more than one enemy. Use combos and actions to deal more damage while also maintaining enmity. Use AoE enmity actions after every combo or after every 2 combos. If you follow these 5 steps, you should have no issue in tanking. Now we have the final tanking mechanic, tank swaps. Tank swaps are not difficult, but they require quick input in some cases. Most bosses will perform an action that will put a debuff on the main tank. These debuffs generally increase the amount of damage the tank takes, greatly. For the stat, we'll be using Susano Extreme for an example. Susano has a move called Storm Splitter. Once it hits, the player that is taking will receive a debuff that increases the damage they take while also receiving a lot of damage from this move. It's very common for a tank to die right after Storm Splitter due to the auto attack from Susano, and because the tank swap will not perform correctly, and the tank did not have proper defensive cooldowns on. To perform a tank swap during Susano, you must first wait for Storm Splitter casting. While Susano is casting, this is where the tank swap comes into play. The off tank, which is the second tank, need to make sure they have their enmity tank stance on. Use the roll action provoke and quickly follow up an enmity move. The original main tank is now the off tank, until Storm Splitter is finished cast. It is very important for the off tank to not perform any increased enmity actions. Once Storm Splitter is finished, the off tank can now remove their enmity tank stance if the tank swap was successful. Another way to help the main tank ensure enmity lead is for the off tank to use the tank roll action called Shirk. Shirk will give enmity from one player to another. Here are some quick steps to ensure a tank swap. Step 1. Once the boss is casting a tank buster, the off tank will now turn on their tank stance. The main tank using proper cooldowns and avoid any increased enmity actions. Step 2. The off tank was now use provoke and follow up with an enmity action. Step 3. After the boss is finished with their action, the original main tank that is now the off tank should now drop their tank stance so they may deal more damage and avoid taking hate away from the main tank. Step 4. The off tank can now use Shirk on the main tank if needed. There are other ways to increase DPS and perform faster clears as a tank. I hope this guide helps. Also, big credit to Leggerless for making a visual guide for tanks. I suggest checking out their visual guide. If you like this video and want to see more, hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Got any suggestions or comments? Feel free to post down below. Till next time, I hope you enjoy tanking.